Nope, just these the guys on the ground down there, the heavily armed officers that made their way inside. They actually are kind of just milling about or holding the perimeter, as it would be. The non-essential, you can see them making their way back over to these armored vehicles, probably doing a little debrief about what they saw.
Peaceful suburban streets are usually filled with the sounds of birds, the hum of sprinklers, or kids riding their bikes. But on this particular morning, the calm is shattered. Red and blue lights bounce off the quiet walls of million-dollar homes. Neighbors, still in robes and slippers, step outside onto their porches with steaming mugs of coffee in hand, only to find the entire block swarming with unmarked black SUVs. The vehicles form a tight circle around one massive property, a towering stone mansion valued at more than $30 million. Its gates, usually symbols of wealth and security, are now surrounded by men in tactical gear. Federal agents march forward with practiced precision, some carrying sealed envelopes and thick stacks of documents, others gripping rifles close to their chests. Within seconds, the quiet cul-de-sac transforms into a live crime scene. The house, once admired for its manicured lawns and luxury cars in the driveway, is now the center of a federal raid. Authorities quickly confirm what neighbors are already whispering: the mansion belongs to the parents of Carmelo Anthony, a family already entangled in controversy over alleged ties to a multi-million-dollar GoFundMe scandal and whispered involvement in violent crimes. This isn't just another investigation. A spokesperson for the federal task force steps forward to clarify that this is what they call a surprise enforcement action. No advance warning. No polite letters in the mail. This was a shock strike designed to catch the family off guard. Agents swarm inside and begin hauling boxes out of the mansion. Some are sealed in sleek black cases, others wrapped in bright yellow evidence tape. Nobody knows what's inside them, but the sheer amount of material being removed sparks endless speculation. For neighbors watching from across the street, the scene feels unreal. One man later tells reporters he saw at least 15 heavily armed agents storm the house all at once. Another recalls the chilling sound of a battering ram crashing against the side door, followed by muffled shouting inside. A group of onlookers quickly pulls out their phones, recording shaky video that soon floods social media. Within hours, clips of agents carrying safes, laptops, and stacks of flash drives rack up hundreds of thousands of views. Questions explode online. Was this raid triggered by suspicious offshore accounts tied to the missing $10 million from the GoFundMe fund? Was it a reaction to leaked communications hinting at hidden assets? Or was it a preemptive strike to secure crucial evidence before it could be destroyed? The public can't shake the same haunting thought: what could possibly be so valuable inside that mansion that federal agents were willing to storm it in broad daylight? In the heart of downtown, inside a packed courthouse, the drama escalates. The sound of the judge's gavel echoes through the room, followed immediately by the frantic typing of reporters racing to update their stories. Just hours after the raid, prosecutors waste no time connecting the operation to their broader investigation. At a tense press conference, the lead prosecutor faces the cameras and confirms that significant evidence was seized from the Anthony family estate. He refuses to provide details but stresses the importance of what was discovered. His refusal only deepens public curiosity. What could be so explosive that it demanded such a high-stakes raid? Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere shifts. Jurors lean forward, pens scratching across notepads. Carmelo's parents sit stiffly at the defense table, hands clasped in their laps, trying to maintain composure. Their lawyers whisper nervously, exchanging glances that betray growing unease. Meanwhile, outside the courthouse, the media frenzy reaches new heights. News outlets play raid footage on repeat, analyzing every second. The glare of red and blue lights bouncing off the mansion's stone walls. Agents whispering into radios. Black cases being loaded into vans. Online theories range from offshore transfers to evidence of witness tampering. Some believe this proves prosecutors are closing in. Others dismiss it as a carefully staged spectacle designed to sway public opinion before the trial even begins. The Anthony family's legal team releases a short but defiant statement: "We will not be intimidated by theatrics. Everything taken will only prove our client's innocence." They have nothing to hide. But the silence inside the courtroom tells a different story. The defense's confidence now feels like a fragile mask, and everyone is waiting to see if it cracks. The prosecution then unveils its next move. On a large screen, grainy body cam footage flickers to life. The jury watches agents sweep through the Anthony mansion's marble-floored hallways, tagging boxes, rifling through safes, opening drawers, and pulling hidden items from behind wall panels. Once symbols of stability and wealth, the mansion's elegant rooms now look like crime scenes under bright tactical lights. This was not random, the prosecutor explains in a steady voice. This was evidence collected on the basis of credible intelligence that this property concealed material directly linked to ongoing financial crimes. The footage pauses on one striking frame, an agent holding a sleek black laptop, an evidence tag swinging from its handle. Without saying it directly, the implication is clear: digital documents that may reveal offshore transfers, money laundering schemes, or communications tied to the GoFundMe scandal. The defense leaps to object. This is theater, not facts. One lawyer exclaims. The judge partially sustains the objection, reminding jurors to focus only on admissible evidence. But the damage is done. Those images have already burned themselves into the minds of everyone in the room. A woman in the gallery whispers, "It's like watching a house of cards collapse," gripping her purse tighter as footage of safes being carried out plays on screen. Online, the clips quickly go viral under captions like the beginning of the end. The prosecutor then introduces the lead federal agent overseeing the raid. Calm, composed, and dressed sharply in a dark suit, he describes how weeks of surveillance and sealed subpoenas led to the operation. "We executed the warrant based on credible evidence suggesting concealment of assets," he states firmly. The jury stiffens when he reveals that behind one wall panel in the mansion, agents discovered a hidden compartment containing hard drives, ledgers, encrypted phones, and multiple sealed envelopes. The mention of a secret room triggers visible reactions. One juror folds their arms. Another raises an eyebrow. Suddenly, the defense's claim that the family had nothing to hide feels less convincing. The defense pushes back, suggesting these could be ordinary financial records for a wealthy household. But the agent cuts through their argument with one line: "In my professional experience, people conducting legitimate business do not hide documents in wall panels." The courtroom falls silent. Almost immediately, social media erupts with hashtags like hidden files and secret room. Some speculate the files prove offshore accounts, while others believe they contain evidence tied to the murder investigation. Whatever the truth, the public perception is clear: the Anthony family was hiding something. The prosecution then calls in a digital forensics expert. Calm and methodical, he walks the jury through the first findings from the devices. With charts, timestamps, and financial records, he connects the dots to a larger picture. Among the most alarming discoveries are transaction logs showing layered transfers to offshore accounts. Small sums, broken up and moved through shell companies, before landing in banks in the Cayman Islands. Even more chilling, several of these transfers align suspiciously with key dates in the ongoing murder case. These were not random transactions, the expert testifies. They were deliberate actions designed to protect assets at critical moments. The defense quickly objects, claiming the accounts can't be directly linked to the Anthony family. But the expert counters with calm precision. These documents contain identifying information, including IP addresses, login data, and an email address directly tied to prior Anthony family filings. The courtroom buzzes. The implication is undeniable: these weren't innocent mistakes. They were carefully constructed financial maneuvers, possibly tied to crimes much larger than anyone initially imagined. For the jurors, the weight of the evidence grows heavier by the minute. For the public, the story spreads like wildfire. And for the Anthony family, the walls of their $30 million mansion are no longer a symbol of power. They've become a cage holding secrets that may finally come to light. And the question that lingers in everyone's mind is simple but haunting. When those encrypted devices are fully unlocked, and the hidden files are read aloud in court, will the Anthony family's empire collapse completely? Or will they somehow twist this evidence into another desperate bid for innocence? Because one thing is certain: the truth, whatever it may be, is finally pushing its way out of the shadows. Once again, the defense rises with a familiar argument. They ask if hackers could have forged the financial records or planted false data on the seized drives. But the expert's reply is sharp and direct. "We found no trace of tampering," he says firmly. His voice is steady, and his words slice through the courtroom like a knife. The gallery falls silent. It is the kind of silence that speaks louder than shouts. One juror leans forward, chin resting on their hand, carefully studying the expert as if weighing every single word. Reporters scribble furiously in their notebooks, trying to capture the moment before it passes. Almost instantly, images from the courtroom begin circulating online. Screenshots of the presentation spread across social media with captions like "They've got receipts." The public reacts in waves, each post adding more fuel to the fire. But the biggest question remains unanswered. Will this evidence be seen as the missing piece that seals the prosecution's case? Or will doubts about the true purpose of the hidden funds still linger? If you were sitting in that jury box, would this be enough to convict, or would you hesitate to make the final connection? The defense knows they are running out of time, so they strike back. The sound of the judge's gavel echoes like thunder as one of Carmelo Anthony's parents' lawyers rises slowly. He paces deliberately in front of the jury, his voice low at first but gradually rising with conviction. "These so-called hidden files, these offshore transfers," he begins, "are not evidence of crime. They are the ordinary complexities of wealth. The government is twisting routine financial matters into a dark story that simply isn't true." He reminds the jurors that wealthy families often use intricate structures for their money. Trust funds, shell corporations, offshore accounts, these are not automatically signs of wrongdoing. Raising his voice slightly, he points toward the sealed evidence bags. Inside those encrypted drives could be anything. Private medical files, corporate agreements, even unrelated court documents. The government shows you a locked door and then demands you believe there are monsters behind it. His words are carefully chosen. Each phrase is meant to plant a seed of doubt in the jurors' minds, to make them question whether the mountain of evidence truly points to guilt or simply to unusual wealth management. But the prosecution is ready. They stand and counter with icy precision. Jurors, federal agents did not stumble upon an ordinary safe. They uncovered a hidden compartment inside the wall of a mansion. Ordinary families do not construct secret rooms to store simple papers. That is not normal behavior. The statement lands like a heavy weight. The prosecutor pauses, allowing the silence to settle into the minds of everyone present. The tension grows unbearable. Jurors glance between the towering stack of evidence and the defense table. Some scribble notes at a frantic pace while others sit frozen, their eyes darting nervously. Outside the courthouse, reactions are just as divided. Analysts argue fiercely on news channels. Some agree with the defense, saying prosecutors are putting on a show instead of presenting hard proof. Others argue that the raid already sealed the family's fate. The sight of safes and laptops being wheeled out under flashing red and blue lights is an image no lawyer's speech can erase. The public itself splits into two camps. On one side, people insist the Anthony family is being unfairly portrayed as criminals because of their wealth. On the other, voices grow louder that the raid exposed the truth, catching them red-handed while trying to hide what they never wanted anyone to see. And again, the question lingers: if you were sitting in that jury box, would the defense's pleas for doubt sway you, or would the memory of that hidden wall compartment overshadow every word they said? The very next morning, headlines dominate every screen. Bold letters announce, "Cash hidden in Anthony Mansion discovered during federal raid." The photographs are impossible to escape. Safes being wheeled out under armed guard. Agents driving off into the night with evidence stacked in vans. Neighbors standing on sidewalks with wide eyes as laptops are sealed in plastic bags. This raid, once a single shocking moment, has now transformed into the defining event of the Anthony family's downfall. And it is only the beginning. Inside the courthouse, the tension is unbearable. Stone-faced jurors file back into the jury box, their expressions unreadable. Prosecutors prepare to reveal what they've been holding back. The defense team silently flips through papers, their movements sharp and anxious. Although officials have refused to confirm exactly what was seized, whispers travel quickly through the hallways of justice. Behind closed doors, rumors swirl that documents link the Anthony family's shell companies directly to the missing GoFundMe millions. Others hint at private correspondence suggesting obstruction of justice. Nothing has been proven yet, but in high-profile cases like this, perception can be just as powerful as fact. At the defense table, the family sits stiffly under the weight of hundreds of staring eyes. Carmelo's father clasps his hands tightly together, his knuckles pale, as if bracing himself for a storm. His mother looks straight ahead, her face frozen, refusing to glance at the crowd or the reporters who scribble down every gesture. Every tilt of the head, every blink, every frown becomes tomorrow's headline. Meanwhile, outside the courthouse, the divide grows deeper. Supporters gather with signs demanding justice and accountability, while others claim the government staged the raid to destroy a family's reputation. Voices clash on the steps, chants echoing into the night, each side convinced they are witnessing history in the making. By sunset, one truth feels undeniable. The raid has changed everything. Regardless of what is ultimately found inside those safes and drives, the image of agents storming a mansion and wheeling out hidden evidence has burned itself into the public's mind. It is a stain that no legal argument can completely wash away. And so, the haunting question remains as the world waits for the next chapter to unfold. Does the truth rest only in what the federal agents uncover behind locked doors and encrypted files? Or does the truth already live in the eyes of the public who watched it all play out in real time? If you were in that jury box, would you demand undeniable proof before deciding guilt, or would the memory of flashing lights, hidden rooms, and secret safes be all the evidence you need? Because in the end, justice is not only about what is found. It is about what people choose to believe when the facts, the rumors, and the spectacle collide. And for the Anthony family, the line between perception and reality may be the very thing that determines their fate.